for the team discussion that we had, okay, we had like altogether 4 different cases, okay. To be fair on for every team, okay, I'll random the case study number, but I mean like in the same case study, you have to just like present. I mean like, for example, if we are talking about, we start with case study 3-3 first, let's say, suppose. That means James and the team has to present, and then followed by Kandita and the team has to present, because otherwise, if I just say that I just like random you by the team, okay, we may shuffle the cases, and then we just like mix them up, and then we might be confused. Nah? Okay, so I just random the case first, and then for the team in each case, okay, I may random for you again if you say that you want the fairness, So let's start first. What case will have to be presented first? The first case is case 1, 3-1, just one team only, that is Athivat. Then the next team, the next case, go to case 2. Oh, it's not just like quite random anyway. Next, case 3. So this is not quite a random, it's just like random, like in order anyway. Then the last one is case 4. So for each team in the case, okay, now let's talk about case 2, okay, because case 2 has 2 teams, okay. The team to present first is team 1, Christine's team, and then Nakarin. Okay. For case 3, case 3. The case 3 start with Kandita's team first, and then followed by James. Then for case number 4, we start with Maylin team first, and then followed by Tasvia's team. Okay. Okay then, so we start with case 3-1. Okay, Athivat and the team. Okay, please just like talk about this case a bit. Okay, and then just like talk about the solution that you provide for this case. The North Hills College.
So is anyone in my team sharing the screen, or should I share the screen? Hi, hello everyone, guys. Okay, Ajahn, give me a second, okay? I'll share the screen.
I got it.
Oh, okay.
Before you just like talk about the solution, could you please just like tell all of us about like what is the case about?
So this case is basically about this North Hill College, where like they want to develop a new registration system, and like the
I'm sorry,
IT.
Rina. Sorry,
What?
I couldn't hear you clearly. Your voice is too soft. Can you please speak louder?
Is this better?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, so this case is about North Hill College, that they want to develop a new registration system, and as the IT managers would like to set up a JAD meeting session. So the question is like, who should we invite and why? And then like the agenda, like on each step, like what would happen. So for the first question that we like to answer is that we would want to ask the IT managers, and then like why is because like we need to develop the agenda and carry out the session, of course. And then for the top manager, we want to invite the head of each administrative office to provide authorization and like perspective on the higher up executive view. And like then we need to invite each like the lower level of each administrative office to provide like more heads on what matters. And then we need also to invite students, president of student association, to give us the like what student really wants and like for improve UI, input output stuff. And we also need to invite the other IT member for system analysis and like other technical tasks like hardware, software, security, and other things, and about how we should develop the system. And we need someone to record, which is like the services team. So we have like the report on the progress of the JD team. Okay, next.
Yes, this is the table of agenda and what happens at each stage of the session. In the morning, we have Jay, the project leader or IT manager, which is us to introduce members in JD team and outline the overview of the project to members. Then top manager, conducted by the administrative office. We have to give the reasons for the new registration system. For example, specify the flaws and bugs of the past system and compare it to the new system. The final distributions from the IT manager is that we propose the range and constraints of our project. Before having a break, we discuss the goal of each work and what the requirements of the system are, and then we assign members to each group to explore a given topic such as security, scalability, or efficiencies, and eventually adjust the meeting points to everyone. At noon, we let our staff have a refreshing break and share opinions within a team. And
scroll down, please. Okay. So after the break, it's basically the next session. You're gonna have another discussion session, similar to the last one. You're gonna break into smaller groups and present to JAD. Basically, present into the findings of what we have done for the research that we did in the past session. Present things like the findings of that each teams have in regards to control security, performance, scalability, and these kind of things. And they also present the disagreements that they have, maybe the things that are not decisive yet. For example, the security thing, how should we make it? How much money should we put into this? Something like that. That is still a matter of disagreement between the members. And we also provide, the team would also provide some suggestion that they can think of. Basically, just what should we do and how should we proceed from this point on. And after this, we'll also break into another smaller group for fact finding. Basically, this is more to gather the information, mostly gathering the facts to support and to decide what course of action would be the best way for us to do. And basically, yeah, just finding facts that's used to resolve disagreements. Afterwards, we report the results, and by this point, basically we should have a clear, like, or maybe just a brief rough overview of how the new registration should be like, how its security system should be like, how its performance is supposed to be, and how should we proceed in creating it, and these kind of things. And the last session would be us, the IT manager, who would have maybe the recorder as well to do the recap of the JD session, to summarize everything, and then briefings on what to do next. So after this, do we proceed straight away to developing the new project? Or maybe if we don't have all the resources yet, maybe we delegate some IT member to create the parts that can be created straight away, while for the others, we might assign other members for more fact finding and to gathering more information to decide on what to do further as well. And that would conclude the JAD session. By the way, the box on the left is the agenda, and the box on the right is the what would happen between each agenda. So yeah, it answers both questions.
Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you very much for the first team. Okay, to present on your case study. Right. Okay, that's very good job. Okay. So I'm sure that if you really have to develop any proposal to your customer, okay, you can just like do it very quickly as you just like solve this problem in the case study. That would be great. Okay. Now let's move on to the next team. For case study 3-2, Christine's team.
All right, so in this case study, we're talking about the Deep River College, in which the administration would like to upgrade their old alumni database system from being manually stored into a digitized version for easy access when they want to, for example, send emails or other newsletter to their alumni. And us as the IT, in the IT department, we are assigned to Eddie, and we're supposed to prepare a list of questions ranging from open-ended, closed-ended, and range of response question for which he will then use these to ask the dean. So in this case, let's talk about the order of topics. We want to go logically in order. First, we ask basic questions regarding the system implementation, and as in how the system will be used and what does the dean expect of this system. It will involve a range of all of these questions in all order of topics. Then we move on to timeline and financing, in which, since in this case the system, while it passed all the feasibility tests, there are certain aspects of details that needs to be cleared out with the president for the big picture. We might also want to conduct pre-meeting interviews regarding this project timeline and financing issue by going to the relevant users and asking on how the previous system was implemented and what kind of change would be necessary in terms of the user themselves before asking the administration, because there tend to be a disconnect between those at the top and those who are actually using the system. And also, finally, we will talk about additional features in which how this systems can be used for the college later on, how it could be connected to other systems in the future. So first, for open-ended questions, we have to ask on, well, since there was no digitized system before this request was passed on to the IT department, we have to ask whether the users or the administrator herself has any experience using the system interface or any form of UI, and what would her preference be? Is there already an existing system such as like Sky system for MUIC or stuff like that for Deep River College, which can be integrated with the new database system that we will implement? And also, are there any other services that need access to the alumni, whether it be from other faculties and not or other colleges, stuff like that? Also, in terms of hardware, there are also two possible options where there are certain trade-offs, such as a physical storage system and a cloud storage system. But in case of university, it also depends, because these alumni information are usually sensitive, and if the university is related to governmental functions, such as being like a medical university, they won't really allow you to post your sensitive information on cloud service providers. But in this case, it will also require us to front the cost of acquiring hardware, and also it might lead to some networking issues such as when heavy usage is required. But seeing how this is just an information retrieval system, that isn't the case. Though it is worth asking the dean for this, because in a lot of cases the cloud solution would be more efficient. So, and after that, there's also the problem of project timeline and financing, in which, although we have passed the economic feasibility test, we also need to ask her what she sees in the order of priority on which this project should be implemented. Are we in dire need of an alumni database system right now? Like, do we really have to use it, or can it just be gradually implemented on a range of time before needing use again? Because most people won't really need to access alumni data that frequently. And there's also the problem of financing, which in this case, we have to, of course, discuss the budget with the administrator. She most of the time, the administration will be the one deciding on the budget for each project. And finally, we talk about the additional features. Like I said, does she see any room for potential improvement in what we're presenting to her? Like, would this system expect to grow a lot before needing another upgrade or change? How scalable does she expect it to be? Well, we're trying to do our best, but we also want to know her expectations. And the estimated manpower required for the project is also important, because when transferring the data from just a physical record to digitized system, we need people to manually enter those data, right? So we have to talk about the financing on that part too, and how it might affect the timeline. Right, so these are some of the questions. That should cover the most crucial points. And in other times, most of these questions would just lead to other branch off during the interview. So having these as the main topic would usually suffice for around 1 hour. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for this team, for Christine's team, for presenting your case study. Okay, now let's move on to the next team. The next team is whose team? Nakarin's and the team.
Hello. Can everyone see the document?
I can see your screen, Naran, but would you mind to just like zoom in a bit for us? Okay. Yeah, okay. That's enough, thank you.
Okay, so the previous team already like explained the case study, so I won't like really go through the. I'll just go straight to the topics and questions. So like some of the topics that we have to discuss with the dean are basically like the communicate like how we're going to implement the system. So we have to discuss like the level of security that's needed, and like the user design or user interface that we plan to like implement, and how we're gonna do like full-scale testing. And we have to discuss about like the system requirements as well, like the information that's going in, the information that's going out, like what type of what's the performance needed for this kind of system, and the process of how the system actually works. We also have like, we have to train we need like a lot more manpower to operate the system. So we need to talk about like user training. We have to train the college staff to know how to use the system as well, since it's like alumni information. So the people logging in the information will also have to be like professors and stuff after the students graduate. Okay, for the open-ended questions, open-ended questions. First, we have to like ask like what would the system input and output format be, and like if there's any specific theme we have to like adhere to when we design the user interface. Like maybe there's like a specific uni or college policies that we have to follow when we make the system, and what type of alumni information was stored and the extent of system security, as well as we have to like find out what problems the current system has caused, and how would our new system solve these problems. As well as like the previous group mentioned, we have to have to ask how urgent is this needed. Like we need around a rough deadline for the project, as well as like any concerns with the development and the extent like users should be involved with the system. As for closed-ended questions, we have to know if the staff are comfortable working on like this computerized system, because like I said previously, like a lot of staff will have to use this system to log the alumni information. So we have to know if like how many people are comfortable working and on this type of system and how many people aren't, as well as like do they have any experience working with computerized systems, so we can figure out if we need like extensive staff training. We also have to know like how frequent the information is updated or accessed, which it would help us like figure out the performance needed for this type of system, and like if like privacy is a huge concern, because you're handling like student data basically, or alumni data. For a range of response, we would also like to know like how dissatisfied the dean is with the manual storing system and their experience with the original system, so we know what features to implement into the new system that would make like using it feel a lot better than the old system, as well as like approximate range of budget, as well as like the flexibility of the budget in case in like the worst case where we need more budget than our department has. Okay, and that's about it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Naran. Okay. So let's see. The next team, okay, we move on to case 3-3. Okay, 3-3. Tanchita and the team, would you please just like share your screen and then talk about like FastPack overnight package system.
Okay, so can you hear me, Ajahn?
Yes, very clearly.
Okay. To summarize the case, for this case, we are talking about a FastPack overnight package system, which is a very big, which the company is a very big name in the US. We have two characters in this case. We have Jesse and Tanya. Jesse is a system analyst on an IT team that studying on updating the FastPack package tracking system. She was prepared for an interview with her vice president, but during the interview, Mr. Tanya, the vice president, didn't ask his assistants to hold her call, in which it interrupt the interview session. So just ask and suggest that they may have to reschedule the interview again, or maybe he could ask his assistant to hold her call. However, Mr. Tanya replied that he could not because he is very busy and he would prefer to finish the interview within a day. So we were asked two questions. What are her options for Jess, and is an analyst always in control of this kind of situation? Why or why not? For the first questions, because Mr. Tanya didn't pay full attention to Jess. So we suggest that maybe Jess should try to gap Mr. Tanya by reminding the importance of the system update. Either using the information that she prepared or use the emotional appeal, like mentioned that the company is the fourth largest company in this field. Another options she could make, as discussed by our group, is that since Mr. Tanya is really busy, maybe just should try to lessen the time of the interview as much as possible by presenting the important parts of the updates. By introducing the crucial parts and important of the updates, Mr. Tanya will take less time in making decisions about the system updates. And moreover, another suggestion is that if she has no other meeting, then she could follow Mr. Tanya's schedule and let Mr. Tanya take his time. She should not offend Mr. Tanya since he is one of the who gives approval to the system update. If she was to cancel the interview or postpone the meeting, she would have made the situation for both and Mrs. Tanya worse. Lastly, if the interview period interfere with both their schedule, then the interview should be cancelled. The interview should not take longer and take place in a suitable time. If Mr. Tanya having this interruption and it's wasting time, then it's better that just should cancel the meeting. And for the worst case scenario, if Mrs. Tanya is 100% not interested in the system update, then just has no other reason to prolong the interview since her other meeting may be more crucial than this system. For another question, is an analyst always in control of this kind of situation? Why or why not? Our group concluded that an analyst doesn't have any control over this situation. Even though Jess has the ability to update the system, she doesn't have the power to decide whether the update should be made or not. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation on the case, on case 3. So move on to the next theme of the same case 3-3 as well, for the fast pack overnight package system. Okay, so James and the team, would you please start your presentation? Thank you. So James team, are you here ครับ Do you hear me James Hello James and your team James หลุยส์ชยาธร and Pai
Hello, John. We're here. We're trying to get something working.
Okay, I thought that my internet connection is like disconnected. So everyone,
Yeah,
do you
sorry about that.
so if your team is ready, please start the presentation.
Okay, so we did answer the first part, but for some reason it's not here. So I'll just move on to the second part. So is an analyst always control of the situation? We say no, because people can be pretty difficult to work with and they're unpredictable. And there's always going to be interruptions, pressures, and also lack of interest. And say, for example, if she started dominance and cancel the session, would negatively impact the relations between the manager and her, and there will be consequences for that. And the client will more likely have the interview to be disrupted. And many of the factors in play here are the interviewer has pretty much no control over.
Okay, thank you. Then move on to the next case. Okay, case study 3-4. We begin with Maylin's team first ครับ Maylin's team.
Hello, can you hear me, อาจารย์?
Yes ครับ very clearly ครับ
Okay, so I will start. So for our group case study, it's about an analyst who is a system analyst at the cyber staff. The cyber staff is kind of like a large company that sells the computer hardware and software through the telephone, mails, and online on the internet. Throughout the week, there's kind of like a several thousand transition, which they kind of have a 3-shift operation and employed 50 full-time and 125 part-time employees. But lately, the bill department have kind of like experienced some kind of increase in the number of customer complaints about the incorrect bills. So she trying to like investigate, and she learned that some of the representative does not follow the order procedure. So she come to her advisor, a supervisor, which is us, to kind of like get more information and find a pattern or identify the solution for the problem. So she kind of asked us the question, the first question is a questionnaire is the best approach, or would interview be better? And the second one is, should she select the participant at random or she should use other methods? So for our first question, after we discuss among our group, we come to the conclusion that interview would be a better approach. With interview, we can extract more information from employees because we can kind of like directly see and observe their interaction and reaction toward each question, which somehow might lead us to some important piece of pattern. And moreover, we can also record and look back at each interview. It's also allowed us to ask a follow-up question to evoke a more in-depth and detailed response if the interview does not understand the question. However, one-on-one interview have a better chance of allowing people to open up about the situation being asked, while the questionnaire is simpler, but it does not result in the taker being completely honest when it comes to the hard question. Secondly, for our second question, since we have chosen to advise and to use the interview technique, we also advise that selecting participant at random while assuring that they won't be randomly chosen again in the next round. In this way, we can get various representative as possible. And in addition, choosing an equal number of people from each shift can reduce the bias and result the truthful response. We are also able to make an accurate observation and look in depth into each shift. Yeah, that's kind of all.
Okay, right, thank you. Thank you for Maylin team on your presentation. Now let's move on to the last team, Pasphere. Okay, Pasphere team, please.
Okay, hi, Achan.
Hi.
So since the previous team explained the case study, I'm just gonna skip that. So for the first question, it was whether if a questionnaire or interview would be a better approach. So after like discussing, we felt that if the company is facing an issue that causes a lot of problems, a questionnaire would be the best approach because it's efficient and quick, and like you want to solve the problem as fast as you can. It's also practical because there are 50 full-time employees and 125 part-time, a total of 175, and it's not efficient to carry out 175 interviews because it would be so time-consuming and complicated. And with the questionnaires, you can easily give them to all the employees to fill out and get the results at a quicker rate as well. And they're documented, so you don't have to like take notes while interviews and stuff. And they're also really easy to like identify the problems and flaws, and like it's documented for you. And for the second question, we said that for the questionnaire approach, the number of participants has like an impact on the efficiency. So that's why every employee should do the questionnaire rather than just one person selecting people from each shift. And the more employees participate in the questionnaire, the more credible the results will be. Out of the 175 employees, more than 125 are part-time. So it may not be practical because they don't have a fixed shift, and as a consequence, to select people equally from each shift is a bad idea. And if Anne plans to take interviews, it would be better for her to choose an equal number of participants from each shift, so the information that she collects is fair. And also selecting participants at random would ensure getting enough information about each shift, and it would be difficult for her to identify the problem behind the customer's complaints with the incorrect bill situation. Therefore, taking the interview after the questionnaire is done by each employee would be the best approach, as she would then know on which shift she wants to focus more and choose participants accordingly for the interview. And then it will provide her with a more in-depth knowledge of the reasons due to the above mentioned problem, and it will handle the problem easily and efficiently.
Okay, thank you for Pasphere and your team for the presentation of case 3-4. Okay, so right now you can see that I really appreciated that when you just like try to present on the way in order to just like gather the information and the way to solve the problem at the very beginning is very good. Okay, so I think right now is the time for you to start your term project. Okay, because when you know that what's the problem and when you know how to start solving those kind of problems, that's a good sign of being the good system analyst. So before we start talking about module number 4, okay, let me just like show you for the term project work a bit. Okay, so just won't be long. Let me just activate this one for you first. Okay, so in our canvas, okay, in our courses canvas, okay, you just scroll down to the last part, and then you see upper than the recorded live videos, we had term project and discussion, right? So right now I open 2 things for you. Right now you can see that when we do the when we do the case study, okay, you just like know some classmates or your group mates more. Okay, so now first thing I want you to do is that I want you to register for the team. You still have time. You don't need to do it now. Okay, just have a look first. If you say that, okay, you can't just like, you don't want to work that with the same group of people anymore, just feel free to just like list your new teammates. I would like you to just like register for your project team. Okay, it can be different from the case study. Okay, while you have the project team, you can still like work with the same group to do the case study as usual. But when we have the term project, you just like do with like the people that you feel like you better work with them. Okay, so firstly, set up your team name. What should be the team name? So that I can, when I just like call you, I'll call you by the team name instead of a name of a person in the team. Okay, and then list out the team members for me. Okay, write down your, maybe your nickname or your first name. That's okay. Okay, and for the contact, you can leave it because right now I can contact all of you through the line group. Okay, so just list, write down your team name and team members, just that, and then submit it to me. Okay, so that's the first thing that I want you to do. Next, what else? In this one, I want you to start group assignment number 1 for the term project. The term project will be like this. Okay, let me just like show you for the full term project layout first. It will be like this. So for the term project, okay, we will have assignment 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we will have the presentation file that that you have to present on your work. Okay, presentation here means that I just like want you to present it once for the term project. I don't need you to just present assignment 1, 2, 3. No, because it wastes the time. I want you to just like compile all of the work. Okay, from 1, 2, and 3. Okay, because it's just like the progress of your project. Present it as the final project. Okay. So in this one, that means I will assign you 1 assignment at a time. For example, normally I will assign you for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Okay. For example, today I assigned you for assignment number 1. Okay. I'll have time for you around like 1 week to do. Okay. Or some of the term project tasks or some of the term project assignment, you may need to have some more time. Then I just like give you more time than just a week to do it. So then you just like just do your part and then submit it. You don't need to present on anything. Okay, on assignment 1, 2, and 3. After that, when we almost reach the end of the term, okay, the term project should be finished already. So that means when the term project assignment number 3 is due, it should be almost the end of the term, and then we will have the term project presentation. When you present already, okay, you just submit the file to me. Okay, just submit the presentation file. If you have like some other additional document, just like attach it to your presentation file. Okay, and then that's it for the term project. Okay, right. So let's see, what do we have to do for the term project assignment number 1? Okay, so is this term project assignment, okay, it will be due on next week, on next Wednesday by midnight. Okay, next Wednesday by midnight. Okay, please submit this work to me. Okay. So what do I want you to do? Actually, group assignment number 1 is like the term project assignment number 1 is the preparation for the whole term project. So in this one, this assignment should address a real life situation. Firstly, you search the internet for a B2C e-commerce, okay, a B2C e-commerce, okay, a website for B2C that you can analyze by observing them online. For example, these are good examples. For example, online banking websites and financial institution systems, okay, or online insurance purchase system. Like for example, if you want to buy like the insurance policy for protecting you from COVID-19, something like that. Online ticket purchasing system. For example, you may want to buy like the airline ticket from AirAsia, or if you would like to buy some movie tickets online, okay, that is a good example. Online shopping system, Amazon.com, Shopee.com, and so on. Okay, Alibaba, Walmart, okay. Or rental system, like a website that allow you to rent a car to just like book the accommodation, something like that. Next, you may just like go to sharing economy online or mobile system. For example, you may go to like Uber, Grab, okay, and right now they have like some other new sharing economy as well, like Project, Food Panda, and so on. Or you can also use traditional companies. Traditional here means brick and mortar. If you have a business at home, or you used to just like work for some company as a as a freelance person or freelance programmer for those companies, just ask them. You may be able to use those kind of the traditional companies. Okay, if you can get the required permission from the appropriate people. Okay, so it is students' responsibility to ensure all permissions are properly received before you start the project. Otherwise, you may have the problem if you just like use like some companies that you used to work with for them before, and they don't know that you are going to use their company as the case of this subject. Okay, you can work on their offline systems if you have the access and appropriate permission from them. So you just like pick what company or what business would you like to just like use their website or their company as the case for your term project. Okay, so for the system or for the website that you have chosen, I want you to identify major functions. As the visitor of that website, okay, if you are a visitor or if you are a customer and then you go to visit that website or the system, you just navigate through. Okay, for example, you go to the website that you choose for your project, okay, and then you familiarize yourself with all aspects that system needed for your analysis. You may have to register at the site or the system as the member of that website or that company, okay, or get special permission if it is not publicly available system to get access to more important function of the system. So that means if you just like go to some website, for example, Amazon.com, when you have to visit it, not just visit as just like any particular or general visitor, but at least you should sign up for being the member of that website so that you can go and see, like sometimes they have like some special promotions or some special page that you can customize the things inside. Okay, you just like register or sign up for being the member of that website. Okay. So the things that I want you to do after you are familiarized yourself with that website already, I want you to develop preliminary investigation report or PIR, okay, for the system you have selected based on the concept discussed in modules number 2 handout. If you want to know how PIR look like, you may search, you may Google for the PIR, for preliminary investigation report. Okay. Actually, you may just like search through the internet to see like how do the consulting companies or software house just develop the investigation report or PIR. But actually, what do I want in the PIR? Normally, we have system. We have to describe system that we select. After that, we have business needs for the system. Okay, what do they want? What is their model? What is like what do they sell? Okay, who are their target customers? Something like that. These are business needs. How do they get the money, or how do they revenue their how do they generate the revenue from their website? That is business needs. 3, advantages of the system for the business needs. So that means, for example, if we are talking about central department store and they have like central.co.th website. So advantage of the system for that business need is that, okay, the business need is that this company sell the product as a retailer. Okay, so normally they have department store and many shopping centers around Thailand and like some nearby country. Okay, so the advantage of the system for the business needs is that the customer can also purchase the product online. So that means if the shopping center must be closed due to some crisis, for example, COVID-19, they can still run their business because the customer can just like order the products online and see the product catalogs from their website. This is the example of the advantages of the system for the business needs. And the next one, constraints of the system for the business needs. For example, if we say that, okay, for a central online website, okay, central department store online website, for anybody who does not have credit card, they can't purchase a product, for example, okay, in here. Or for anyone who don't know how to use the internet, or who don't have their, let's say, who just like who don't know how to use like smartphone properly, they can't just like install the app and purchase the product, something like this. This might be the constraint. And number 5, suggest development plan to improve or mitigate the system constraints in the system. Okay, for example, I may say that, okay, then we will develop the electronic wallet for central online website. So if the customer would like to buy any products from us, they don't need to have the credit cards. The thing that they may do is that, okay, just transfer the money to the bank account of central department store and then just take photos of the pay slip. For example, this is just like, I give you just an example, or you can see that one good example was like Apple. Okay, in the past, people who had to buy the applications or apps from Apple Store, they needed to have credit card. So Apple solved the problem by launching like the redeem card from Apple that you could purchase from like the IT store, or you could purchase from the bookstore. So then you just like bought that like that voucher, and then you just like use the numbers inside that card to pay the money instead of having the credit card, something like that. This is the success for a development plan to improve that system. So you may not be able to cover everything, okay, but this one, I want you to just like discuss with your team. When you see this website, what do you think, what should be the constraints and this website, or in this website. So my suggestion is that once you submit, you just like submit me the PIR, okay, preliminary investigation report. That might be, you might include what to say, SWOT analysis inside as well to show the advantages, constraints, strengths, weaknesses, opportunity and threat of that company. Okay, so this one, you just like have time around a week to submit it to me. So the preliminary investigation report may consist of around like a couple of pages, okay, that you may just like prepare in a Word document, okay, or pages. That is fine as well. But if you would like to submit it to me by Google Doc, make sure that, okay, I mean, I prefer to have the PDF file instead, because sometimes in terms of Google Doc, I can't access it, and I have to request you to permit me to just like access to that document. Okay, right. Up to this point, do you have any question for this assignment? Hello, everyone. Are you still here? You seem so quiet. My CS student and my advisee. Don't be too quiet,นะครับ. I just like try to make you open your mouth as much as I can, because you have to talk to the customers or your users a lot. Okay, I'm trying to see this one below. Diligently listen. Okay, Pon, thank you,ครับ. Okay, so if you don't have any question,นะครับ, so there are two things that I just want to tell you. The first one, as I told you, on next Tuesday, actually I decide to cancel the class. Okay. So the things that we are going to do, because I mean like chapter 4 or module 4 here is just like quite detailed. We need to have the hands-on experience apart from my lecture. So the things that we are going to do is that I will let you, I will just like teach you, I will give you the lecture first, and then we need to practice together as a team. Each team will have to do together. I'll break you into the small group, and then I'll just like accompany you to just like see what you are doing and is it correct or not. After that, we will just like have a short presentation to the whole class. Okay, and then we'll discuss about like those kind of design. So the things that we do is that I plan to just like the first one, we cancel the class on next Tuesday, right? After that, we come back on Thursday. I'll give you the lecture on how we're gonna do the data flow diagrams, okay, in like many parts. After that, we may have, if possible, we set up the makeup class, and then we can just like practice on drawing the data flow diagram together. And when we come back to the regular class on next Tuesday, we just like to resume the class. Okay. So I just like plan to do like that one. Okay. I just want to ask you on next Tuesday. Okay. Okay. Would you like me to cancel the class, or would you like to have the class? Let me just like set up a poll for you. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, it's better than you just type in the chat box. Okay, so just have the poll in here. If it's cancelled, we need to have the makeup class, and then we have to just like organize for the class anyway. I just like, if we cancel, then I just like let you do the Google form to fill up and find out what day should be the best date and time for making up the class. Okay, everyone, could you please do the poll for me on Zoom, so that I know what the result be. So another 7 of you, could you please like reply on the poll? Five more. Three more. Two more. One more. Okay. Now, everyone vote already. Let's see the poll. So, majority of us do not want to have the class canceled. Okay. I don't mind if you say that you still want to have class. I can just like resume the class anyway, so that we don't need to have the class make up. Okay, that's good. Another thing is that I just want to announce to you, because like some of you asked me on I mean before we meet each other today, I received some question asking me about the midterm examination, how the midterm examination be, and when should it be. The examination will be just like case studies. I'll just give you the case studies. It is not memorizing questions. It's a case study that you have to analyze. And also, it might be like a question that they ask you to draw a diagram, something like that. So the things that you have to do for me, if I ask you to draw the diagram, is that you may draw it in a piece of paper, sketch in a piece of paper by using paper and pencil, so that you can erase it and draw it quickly. After that, take photo and then submit it to me. Or if you think that you can use the tools quickly, you may use the drawing tools. I don't mind. I don't mind. Now let's see. This is the result of the poll. Okay. 63% of us say that we don't want to cancel the class on that day. So we just like go. We just follow, respect the majority. So that means on next class, we have the class on Tuesday as usual. So just a little bit. Now I set up the midterm exam date for you already. Okay, so let me just see. It will be on week number 7. It will be on week number 7. Okay, let me have a look first for the date. On Tuesday, the 20th of October, do you have any examination on that day? Tuesday, the 20th of October. Okay, see in the chat box, I wrote it for you already. The content should cover from module 1 to module 4. or a part of module 5 a bit. Depends on like how progress we can do. Okay. Rin Radipon, yes, Cup, it will be the online exam. So that means everyone just like sit with me, like we are doing the lecture right now, and then you just turn on your camera while you are doing your exam. Okay. So yeah, because I just like I don't think that everyone can just like go to the campus. Okay. So I decide, because this class, I said that it is 100% online, then the exam will be online too. Maylin, you asked that, okay, is it paper-based or online? We can use paper to write down. Up to you. You may use paper to write, or you may type on the Word document. I don't mind. And then if you use paper, just scan and then send to me, okay, and submit it to me before the time finishes. Because on last term, I had another section, another subject of CS, and then I asked the student to do it as the online one. He thought that, oh, he could write and then just take a photo, and he was scared, because I mean, like, when he just like talked to his friends, everyone just submit the Word document. So he just like try to make a phone call to me and ask me, Adan, what should I do? Because I'm running out of time to retype everything. I said, no need, just take a photo and send to me. I'm fine with it. And as I told you earlier, for the diagram, especially for the diagramming part, it is quite difficult if you just like have to use the tools to draw it, especially if you are not the expert of using that tool, that drawing tool. It takes a long time. Then drawing, sketching in a paper is better. Okay, right? Okay then. So today, I just like start module number 4 a little bit before we just like before we finish the class today. I'll just like finish the class a bit early because I have the meeting around 12 o'clock. Then I have to run to the meeting. Then I just like begin module number 4. Okay. For module number 4, that I just like upload for you, there are 2 parts right now that you see on the module 4. The first one is the slide of the handout number 4 of our class, or the module 4. Okay, so this one. Okay, and the other one is the DFD example. So today we use the module 4 data and process modeling first. And for the DFD example, I'll just explain while I'm just like talking about the DFD. Okay, we open that one up, and then we will have the discussion, and when we will have the hands-on experience on drawing this diagram as well, because in the future, I'm sure that any of you who will be the system analyst have to use this tool, and you can use this tool, okay, for the career until you are retired. Okay, right. Okay, now let's start with module 4. Okay, for module 4, okay, module number 4, just won't be long. It's here. Okay. This is data and process modeling. Okay, in this module, okay, we will learn how to describe data and then process modeling concepts and tools. Okay, including data flow diagrams, including data dictionary and process description, because you have to describe these components when you have to just like prepare like the model in order to show to the customers, confirm with the customers or users, I mean, and also you also have to pass this one to the programmers as well. Okay. So you'll be able to describe the symbols we use in data flow diagrams and explain their rules for their use. Okay. You'll be able to draw data flow diagrams in a sequence. from general diagram to specific diagram. You also will be able to explain how to level and balance set of data flow diagrams, because there will be many components inside, and you'll be able to describe how data dictionary is used and what it contains inside the dictionary. And you'll be able to use process description tools. Okay, that is structured English, decision tables, decision trees, and also you'll be able to describe relationship between logical and physical model. So in this module, okay, you will develop logical model that of the proposed system. Okay, proposed system, or the one that I told you before, we may call it as to be system. We may call it as to be system, or proposed system is the same thing. So in this one, you'll be able to develop logical model. So that means in this class, you will learn like two different terms of like the of the model that we have. Okay, the first one is what we call logical model. Okay. The first one is logical data flow diagram, or logical DFD. Okay, and the next one is physical DFD, or physical data flow diagram. Okay, these are the things that we will learn. Okay, the difference is that logical model is just like we show what system will do. Okay, but the keyword for physical model is how the system will be constructed. That one, logical model or logical data flow diagram related to your users more, while the physical model or physical data flow diagrams related to the programmer more. Okay. Right. So this is the thing that we will learn. The next one. Okay, the next one. System analysts must use the graphical tools in order to help. Okay. Normally we can use many graphical techniques, okay, to represent or to show or to describe an information system. It depends on how what expertise do you have. Okay. The first tool that I'll just like suggest to you and then teach you is what we call data flow diagram. This is a kind of the graphical tools that we use to depict or symbolize all the things that we have in the information system. DFD use many symbols to show how system transform its input data into its useful information or into its output. Okay. So for the data flow diagram, a data flow diagram shows how data move, okay, from one point to another point in the information system. But it doesn't show program logic or processing step inside. Okay. If you study for some other subjects, okay, you may learn for the flow chart before. The flow chart, actually, it shows the logic inside. Okay. It shows the programming logic or problem-solving logic. But in terms of the data flow diagram, it mainly focuses to show how data move, okay, through information system. Okay. So a set of data flow diagrams, or DF, okay, normally it provides logical model that shows what the system does, not how to do it. Okay, so it doesn't tell us that, okay, what is the program or the function name that we have to use inside the program. Okay, but it just tells us that, okay, from one department to another department, how the data is just like moved. What piece of data has been sent from one place to another place. something like that. Okay. So the next one, let's talk about the symbols that we have to use in data flow diagrams. Okay. For the data flow diagrams, normally we have two different schemes. The first one is what we call gain and Sarsen. Gain and Sarsen are like two computer scientists who just like develop this kind of DFD symbol. And the second scheme is Jordan. These two schemes wrote absolutely the same. Okay, you can draw them the same, I mean, for the ideas or the logic, but they just use different symbols only. Okay, now let's see, what do we have to use? We have process, we have data flow, we have data store, and we have external entity. These are four common things that always exist in any DFD. Okay, so let's talk about process first. Okay, when we talk about the process, it is like the process or things or tasks that you have to do. Okay, for the process or task that you have to do, you can see that in this one. The example is like apply payment. Okay, normally the process, you should have like verb to explain. For example, in here, we use the verb apply. So why do you have to use the verb, or why should we use the verb? The reason is because it's the action of doing something. So that means if you draw it in the wrong symbol, using the wrong symbol, or you just like draw it in the wrong direction, other people, when they read, they know immediately that there is something wrong about this. So that's why you better start with the verb first. Okay. Another example from the process is like apply, apart from apply payment, is like register a course, okay, or just like choose payment method. Okay, you can see that these are like example of the process that we use, or approve the subject, something like that. So now let's see what's the difference. Gain and Sarsen use rounded corner rectangle with a what to say horizontal line to separate the process box into two parts. Okay, the upper part we use to put the number of the process or process number, while the lower part we use to write the process name. While Jordan is different, Jordan use circle to represent a process. It doesn't have any horizontal line to separate the circle, but the upper part of the circle we use to write the process number. For example, process 1, you write number 1 in the circle or in the upper part of the rectangle straight away. And the lower part of the circle is used to write the process name. Okay. So these are the difference. Don't mix them up when you have to really draw the data flow diagram. Next, data flow. Data flow is the symbol that we use to tell us that how the data is moving from one point to another point. Both of the scheme use the arrow, and then on top of the arrow or under the arrow we have the data flow name. Okay, data flow name, for example, bank deposit, for example, account number, for example, student ID. These are like data flow. If you study for a database already, the data flow here, normally it is the record of data. Okay. Next, data store. Data store is the place where we keep the data. For example, it might be a database, or it might be a file, a text file, something like that, Excel file, or even a piece of paper. It can be called as data store as well. Ken and Sasan use like open-ended rectangle, and then we have a small vertical line. On the left-hand side part, or the small part of your rectangle, this one used to enter the data store number. I use it as DS to represent data store. While the Jordan doesn't have the ended side for the left and the right hand side, and it doesn't have any small vertical line. So if you would like to put data store number, just put in front of the data store name. Just that. And the last one is external entity. I'll talk about in detail. Normally, external entity might be a person, okay, a department or division, or even it might be another system. So for Ken and Sasan, use a square with a shaded in the back, like this. While Jordan just use the plain rectangle only, right? So these are like the things that we have for the data flow diagram too. Okay, so I think it's the time now. I have to stop my lecture at this point. Okay, on the next class, we'll just like continue talking about data flow diagrams. I recommend that each team, please prepare a piece of paper and pencil or pen, because you have to practice on drawing these data flow diagrams as well. Okay, and don't forget that if you think that you still want to use the same team for for the data flow diagrams and the practicing of data flow diagrams, I just like recommend you that the data flow diagrams practice should be the when you put you into the group, you should be the group of doing the term project, because in the term project we have to draw data flow diagrams. Okay, it should, if you want to change a group, okay, make sure that that group to do the data flow diagram is the same group as term project. But if you think that you think the term project group and the case study group should be the same, that's fine, no problem at all. Okay, then everyone, okay, before we finish the class, do you have any questions to ask me?
Oh, hi, Hapajan, about the project.
Yes, Garamat.
Are we supposed to actually like interview people and find out about actual websites that we're doing?
Actually, if you can do, that's great. But if you can't, no problem, Kap. You just make it up.
Right, because like I feel like just taking a look at websites, it doesn't really provide much information on the deeper technical levels that will be required for actually modeling a system without really knowing what's behind the scene.
But actually, if you can't just like go deep into their insight, okay, don't worry. You just like see as if like in the eye of computer science students, when you just like go to look at that website, how do you gonna criticize, and do you know how they work? I mean, for example, for the website of selling, when they just like, when the customer just log in, what do they have to do next? And when the customer pay the money, what should be done next? That one you can just anticipate what's going on. Right. But if you say that, oh, I can just like interview them, that would be great, because like in the past, when somebody, when some of the students just like do the project, they try to just like contact some companies that they think they are interested in, and then those companies may just like provide some help. But I mean, like some companies, they say that for the term project, they may not want to have it because it's too short, and at most we can come up with a design and then some suggestions, just that. Okay. I don't mind. So Christine, you asked that, okay, what do we have to submit next week? It's a PIR, it's just a document. It's a Word document. You just like talk about like the overview of the company and the details inside. Just read in the spec of the assignment. I wrote it already what I want to have in that document. So any other questions so far?
So อาจารย์ครับ for the project it have to strictly be the business to customer type of business, right?
Actually, it does not stick to it. But I think if it is B2B, like business to business, it might be too big and you can't imagine of it. The B2C is quite close to you. Okay, that is my suggestion. But if you think that no, Ajahn, I think I want to talk about G2G, government to government, then just talk to me personally. I don't mind, but you have to just like clarify it to me first before you start.
I see. Just another question. What type of business does Canvas qualify under?
For Canvas, right? Canvas is B2B, actually. Hang on. B2C, it's B2C as well.
Because it doesn't sell product directly to the customer, right? But rather it's sell the service, right?
Service, actually, if I want to have the Canvas in like full features, okay, I can just like purchase from it. So Canvas actually it provides like two modes, B2B and B2C. For B2B part, if MUIC purchase Canvas as the main e-learning system, it will become B2B.
I see.
Otherwise, if I use it, okay, and also my student use it, it is B2C.
I see. So since in this case, but then if it's both of them that are full part of the system, we doesn't necessarily have to cover all of them, right? Just have to cover on the B2C or just a part that is relevant to what we have to do, or do we have to cover like the overall?
Actually, it must cover overall, but I think for Canvas, it might not be good to be a term project of yours because you don't see much of the process inside, how they're going to do their business.
I see. Okay, thank you.
So any other questions so far, Kap?
One more thing I noticed is that of all the categories, they're mostly web-based solutions. Are those the only things that are relevant in the business sense? I mean, aren't there a lot more options of systems out there that's not just webs?
Actually, it can be any business. I don't mind, but web is just an example that like many people can find. But if you say that it's not a web-based one, but it's just the internal system. For example, some company has the accounting system inside their company. That's okay too, I don't mind at all. The example that I gave it to you in the specification of the term project assignment one is just a good example only. But if you can find something that is different, I'm glad to accept that. But just let me know first before you submit, before you start doing anything, so that I can suggest to you whether you should use that one or not, and why or why not. Okay. Are there any questions now? Okay. So if you cannot think of the question right now, okay, I have to let you go. But before we go, just like turn on your camera so that I can capture the screen, Okay, then I still don't see many of you. Nakarin, Naran, Taspir, and Luis. Okay, then that would be all for today. So if you can think of some question to ask me later, feel free to just like talk to me or chat with me. We can organize the we can organize the Zoom private session to discuss to each other. Okay, everyone. Okay. Okay, then everyone, you have a nice day, and we see each other again. Okay. Bye bye for now. Have a good day. Take care and stay safe, everyone. See you next Tuesday. ชยาธร Christine, Archer, Taspia, and Louis, do you have any questions to ask me? ไม่มีนะ โอเคครับ บ๊ายบาย
Oh, I have one ครับอาจารย์
Christine, yes?
In the canvas, I'm really confused. Okay, can I share the screen?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
For the submission for the team discussion, this one I didn't submit. My friend did it, but it is appeared that I have submitted. But the other one is like appeared that I didn't submit anything. Is that okay?
That's okay because when I mark the score, I mark by the team. Have no problem.
Oh, okay, ครับอาจารย์
ครับ
Okay, so that's it for me.
โอเคครับ Have a good day, Christine. Bye bye.
Okay, have a good day ครับอาจารย์
Bye bye ครับ
บ๊ายบายครับ